Alright, ladies and Hughes, what are we working on today? Changing quadratic equations from standard form to vertex form. So, first of all, what is standard form? Standard form is the manner in which equation is usually written. Now, of course, we've been looking at a lot of vertex form recently. You didn't necessarily know that, but vertex form is what we've been using recently so we can find the vertex of a parent function. So, a lot of y'all seen, hopefully, well, actually I know a lot of y'all seen ax plus b, which is also written as y is equal to mx plus b, which is similar to, that's the slope-intercept form. Now, what we're going to focus on, of course I said earlier, is quadratic, so we're going to focus on how to write this from standard form and back into vertex form so we can actually graph it and actually find the vertex. Now, example of this, I know that it looks confusing with the a and the b and the c, but a good example would be, for example, 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. Now this is a good example of how it could be quadratic, how quadratic can be written in standard form. Now let's figure out what we got to do, how we got to work this, so that way we can go from standard form to vertex form. Alright, so there's a couple steps. We got 5 steps. Looks confusing, looks kind of hard, but it's not that bad. We just got to get into the format of doing it over and over again. So the first thing is something that you got to make sure you do first. You got to make sure this is actually put in standard form. So, for example, it need to go first, the highest one goes first, so ax squared goes first, bx goes second, and my constant goes last. Now, after that, everything is going to be good, because then we need to first identify the a, my b, and my c. Now, if you pay attention to this real quickly, my a is the number in front of the x squared, my b is the number in front of x, and my c is just the number, which is the constant. Alright? Now, after we do that, we got to do step 3, which is actually just find what the vertex is. How do we find the vertex? We have this nice formula that lets us actually get what the vertex is. So first thing you got to do is find x. Now x is the same thing as h, just as you have right here, right? My x comma y is the same, the x, h, and x the same, and k and y is the same. So how do I find this? To find x or h, however you're going to write it, you do b over 2a. I just use negative b over 2a to help you figure out what this is. Once you get what your x is, you take your answer, and it says it here. Substitute the value from the axis of symmetry, which is actually this right here, and plug it back into the equation. So you take this answer, plug it back into the equation, and you get what your y is. So then you end up with a x and a y, and that will be your vertex. Using the vertex, you bring this h and you bring it into here, which would be negative h, and bring your y and bring it into k, which is actually positive k. Now after that, your a is the same value as the one that you initially found initial time. So the a here is your a right here. So I know that sounds like a lot of steps, but let me show you an example, and I think everything will flow together. So let's go through the example. So example 1. Now, for everyone who's having a hard time with this, please, I'm going to write down this equation right here on the board. I'm going to go through the equation first, and then when you think you have it, try to do it on your own. So don't try to walk through it first, your first time maybe if you want, but when I'm done with it, make sure you can go back and look and see what you did. So say it again. Let me go through it first. You think you got it? Great. Go and do it on your own without watching me do it, and walk yourself through each step, and then once you think you've got it, then check and see what my answer is. Alright? So I'm going to start off with my first step. I already have it in standard form, so I'm already good. So I'm going to jump to step 2. Step 2 is to find out what my a is. What's my a in this situation? My a is going to be 1. It's an understood 1 right here, right? It's the number, the number in front of x squared. So my b is also the number in front of x, which is 4. And my c is just the constant itself, 5. Now, that's step 2. Step 3 is to use, I'm going to change color, is to use those values and use my formula, negative b over 2a. Now, based on these, I'm going to take this and plug it into these values. So this is the key formula that helps me get the vertex. So I take my 4 and I plug it into here. So negative b, negative, and that 4 goes here, so it'll be positive negative 4 over 2 times 1. And so what do I get now? Negative 4 over 2, so it's negative 4 over 2, which also gives me a negative 2. Now, as I said again, this is going to be this equals to my x or my h. However way you want to put it, it's the same thing. So take this negative 2, and what do I do with the negative 2? I put it right back in the equation again. So if you want to say it's your x, you plug it right back into x. So I got a negative 2 squared plus 4 times that negative 2 plus 5. Now let's simplify. So negative 2 squared gives me 4. 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8 plus the 5. Now 4 minus 8 gives me negative 4 plus 5, which equals to a positive 1. So now what is this equal to? This is going to be my y or my k. So now that I have my h and k, or my x and y, then what's my vertex? My vertex now is just going to be negative 2, 1. That's my vertex. This is what I'm really looking to get. Now based on that, I take this and this is the formula I have to remember. I have to remember the vertex form of a quadratic. The vertex form of the quadratic, let me change color. The vertex form for a quadratic will be a x minus h squared plus k. Now what's my h? Based on this, what's my h? My h is going to be negative 2. What's my k? My k is just going to be positive 1. Now, where do I get this right here from? I get my a from the initial spot right here. So I have a 1, or and then this will be my formula. This gives me my vertex form. So we just went from standard form to vertex form. Alright? Hopefully this works. Let's do one more. Let's go example 2. Now, example 2. Step 1, what's my first step? Hopefully everybody's saying it with me. My first step is it in standard form? Yes, so we're good here. Step 2, I need to plug in my what value? I need to figure out what my values are. What are my values? My A, gotta go to the pen, guys. My A is going to be equal to 2, right? My B is going to equal to 8, and my C is equal to 10. That's my first step. Now, the next thing you need to do is I need to use a formula. What's the formula again? Negative b over 2a. Now, this is the formula that you have to remember. This is the formula you have to remember. What do you think? Absolutely. I'm not going to give you this formula on the test or the quiz, so you need to memorize this formula. So, take my 8, plug it back into the b, negative 8 over 2 times, this a is going to be right here, so it'll be 2. So I get negative 8 over 2 times 2 is 4. And so what do I end up with? Negative 8 over 4 gives me a negative 2. So once again, this is going to be my x or my h, right? Take this and plug it right back into the equation. So 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times 2, and that's a negative 2. Let me make sure that's negative 2 plus 10. Don't want to make any mistakes. So we got negative 2 squared would be 4. So 2 times 4 minus 16 plus 10. Now what do we have here? We have 8 minus 16 plus 10. And so when we add those up, 8 minus 16 will be a negative 8 plus 10. And so I'm back down to just 2. This is going to be my y or my k. So this, now what's my vertex? My vertex will be negative 2, 2. Right? Right. Now, what's the form I need to remember also? The vertex form for a quadratic. This would be ax minus h squared plus k. Now I take my answers, and what do I need to look for? Take my a. What's my a in the situation? My a is going to be 2. I got a minus h here, so because of this, what happens with this 2? It goes minus 2, right, squared, and what's my k? 2. So now my answer will be 2x plus 2 squared plus 2. And here is my answer. Alright? So these are a couple things, the 2 formulas you need to remember. And I'm going to go ahead and start from some in red. You need to remember this right here, and you need to remember this right here. 2 formulas. Without these 2 formulas, it makes it kind of hard. But if you follow these steps that I gave you, it's actually more than 3, it's about 5 steps, you'll be good. Please make sure you keep on practicing this over and over again. Make sure to pay attention to your, as you see here, your negative, make a simple mistake. If your A isn't right, it'll be wrong. And this is a good example of going from standard form to vertex form. Hopes this helps. And you already know, it's your boy Fred. Have a good one.